We are live. Welcome to October, everybody. Thursday, October 1st, MLB Wild Card round. We've got 5 games to break down. Could have been 6, but obviously the Yankees did Yankee stuff in the playoffs, and that is over. I am Josh Engleman. I am joined by Adam Scherer. We are brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. Adam, how are you today?
Feeling good. Excited for more baseball. I'm going to be really disappointed when this round ends.
Yeah, to get like an 8-game day in the playoffs is kind of wild. I mean, I hate it from a sport perspective. There's too many teams in the playoffs, but I get it for this year. I'll allow it. I think that they're not going to put that toothpaste back in the tube, unfortunately. And
Right.
The MLB playoffs are going to be even more of a crapshoot than they were previously, which is just lovely.
Yeah, like I'm already going back and forth. Like the Marlins, beat the Cubs yesterday, and I'm already looking at it like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe the Marlins will advance. And I'm like, wait, why do I want the Marlins to advance in the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when the Marlins make the playoffs, they usually win a World Series. So
Right.
who the hell knows? Hey, the good news is maybe the Orioles can win something now.
I mean, they were in the playoff race until like the second to last week of the season.
See, silver lining, I guess. Silver lining. Again, we have 5 games to break down. It's a nice slate spread out from noon through 10 p.m., which is never a fun deal for you. But what are you going to do? Be sure to hit that like button now. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. You guys know the drill. But definitely hit that like button as you come in the door. I think we should just get it started. We got a hard out at noon, or at 11 rather. So you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's go.
The Atlanta Braves hosting the Cincinnati Reds. 4-run implied total for the Braves. 3.5 for the Reds. Ian Anderson against Luis Castillo. Let's just start here. How do you feel about the pitching? Anderson, Castillo, floor is yours.
I like both of them. Obviously, I think they're both really good pitchers. Castillo comes in with a 30.5% strikeout percentage. Ian Anderson comes in at 29.7% in his rookie season. So the strikeout numbers have looked really good for both guys. The first thing that stood out for me for Anderson is that the Reds chose to run as many lefties as humanly possible in their lineup, with 6 of them. Anderson has like a 30+% strikeout percentage against lefties this year, 36.6% strikeout percentage against lefties, 22.4% against righties, 25+% swinging strike percentage on his changeup to left-handed hitters. It's the pitch that was talked about as he was coming up through the minors as being a great pitch. It's played up in the majors. It's been good there as well, allowing no power to lefties, striking them out at a huge clip. So this is a spot where I think, seeing 6 left-handed bats against the right-hander Anderson actually plays in Anderson's favor and increases his upside. So I think that's something worth noting. And then for Castillo on the other side, obviously a really, really good pitcher. It's a dangerous Braves lineup, but there are still strikeouts in it. You have a few guys that are really difficult to strike out, but you still have Riley, Swanson, Duvall. Those guys all hit at a high rate, and Castillo's got really good strikeout stuff. So I think that Castillo isn't the priority among the most expensive pitchers, because you do have Darvish facing Miami, but I'm not going to be upset with any Castillo I get to.
Okay. Yeah, I have Castillo grading out a little bit ahead of Anderson, at least relative to salary, but at the same time, I don't mind that $7,500 price tag at all. The relationship of ownership between Darvish, Kershaw, and Castillo is going to be very interesting. I don't think that we could look into our ownership projections right now. They aren't including Anderson or Castillo as of right now, which was throwing me off pretty aggressively when I tried to look at this. And I was like, okay, they both can't be at 1%, because we've got Darvish at 70 and Kershaw at 60. And if that's the case, then I really like Luis Castillo at no ownership, but that is not going to be how that plays out. So let's talk a little bit about the bats. Not a ton of ownership coming in on either side of this, although Eugenio Suarez cresting 20% is a pretty big number. Is this the game you're trying to get offense from? It certainly worked yesterday.
I tried it yesterday. It didn't go well. And no, not really. I mean, Castillo is a really good pitcher. Like, you can always make the argument with the Braves that if ownership on them is going to be low, they have enough talent in their lineup that they're a worthwhile tournament play, especially on a 5-game slate. It's only 10 teams to choose from. So there's always that angle for the Braves, but it's clearly not a good spot against Castillo. On the other side, I'm kind of interested in Reds one-offs against Anderson. The thing is, though, even against righties, he didn't allow a lot of power he just didn't have the same strikeout numbers. He still held them to a .076 expected ISO. It's, still not a spot where you're looking at it. It's not like a lot of guys, a lot of right-handed pitchers that have a changeup as their best pitch. Righties have really good power numbers against them. That hasn't been the case for Ian Anderson. So, I think taking some shots at like a Nick Castellanos, or you mentioned Eugenio Suarez, that salary is just wrong at 3,400. But it's still just, I don't think, a great spot.
Are you treating, this is sort of a more of a slate question, are you treating the slate any differently because it's the playoffs? Are you building any differently, stacking differently, stacking less?
I kind of went back and forth on that the first day when there were the 4 games, because I think that there's kind of two like approaches that make sense logically. One would be that since more of the pitchers going are just good pitchers, you like stacking is more important because you're just trying to find the one pitcher that has an off day. But then on the other hand, like the chances of any pitcher having an off day is relatively low given the number of games and the quality of the pitching. So I think they both make sense logically. For me, I still stack. I think that, especially like today, it's not like all aces are going. There's a few, but there's still some guys you can bring it against. So I'm still stacking, but I think that you could make a decent argument for just like playing the best hitters that you can.
Okay. This game feels like it's going to be relatively minimally represented from a hitting perspective, relative